So we were warned. We were warned by Whitney Webb. She warned me in 2023, in 2024, and in 2025. And it's finally here. Palantir has decided, of course, to expand. They are building a pre-crime app. This is the Minority Report that I was afraid of finally coming to the surface. Check this out. Elite is a surveillance system that maps real individuals across the U.S. and assigns a confidence score. This allows ICE to identify target-rich areas. But what Whitney Webb warned us about, and I'll show you, is that it does not end with ICE. We are really looking at a real-life version of Minority Report. Let's go ahead and get into this here. Palantir surveillance.
We now have information on the app that ICE uses to determine which neighborhoods to raid. It's called Elite, and in a testimony obtained by 404 Media, it's been revealed that it looks like Google Maps with pins for all the potential deportation targets. And interestingly, the targets include confidence scores, scores that indicate how likely they are to be at a potential location. ICE agents then drive to a location that's target-rich and knock out waves of arrests. Now, Palantir is the company that is officially behind this technology. In case you didn't know, Palantir was tasked by the Trump administration to create a master database on every single person in the US.
And we also know that Palantir is also attached to Peter Thiel, and also Peter Thiel is attached to J.D. Vance, a creation of J.D. Vance. So I'm saying this because Donald Trump, no, obviously he can't be president again come 2028. That won't stop him from trying. But the reality is, for people who think that J.D. Vance is going to be even more lenient because he's not as vocal with some of his schemes as Donald Trump, you are in for a big, rude awakening. And I would say the one you really need to watch out for is the one who appears to be a lot more calm. J.D. Vance appears to be a lot more calm, but that doesn't mean that he won't be just as conniving, if not worse.
Citizens and non-citizens alike, all of us officially have scores around how likely we are to be a potential threat. In the land of the free, every move, our social media behavior, and our location are all being monitored. In case you're unfamiliar with the rest of Palantir's work, they're actually the ones responsible for testing out their kill technology and perfecting it on civilians in Palestine. Their main product is an AI platform designed to identify and eliminate potential future threats. That technology is now right here at home on the streets in the US.
Yeah. Now, again, we were warned, right? And so for some people that didn't see these interviews by Whitney, maybe they, weren't aware of this, that this was coming up. But, there's a reason why they don't allow Whitney Webb to come onto corporate media, right? Because they don't want you to hear these types of things. Here's the kicker, though. Remember when I told you that the Trump administration usually takes something that was implemented under the Biden administration and expands on it? No difference here. Everyone pay attention. This was reported by The Guardian 4 months ago. ICE obtains access to Israeli-made spyware that can hack phones and encrypted apps. So this is all connected. Rather, whatever your position is on immigration, you need to put that aside for just a second. ICE, Israel, surveillance, all of this is connected. Trump administration contract with Paragon Solutions gives immigration agency access to one of the more powerful stealth cyber weapons. Let's get into this one here. U.S. immigration agents will have access to one of the world's most sophisticated hacking tools after a decision made by the Trump administration to move ahead with a contract with Paragon Solutions, a company founded in Israel which makes spyware that can be used to hack into any mobile phone, including encrypted applications. So that's any mobile phone, not just the mobile phones of those that ICE agents are looking for. That includes our mobile phones as well. Now it goes on to say here, this is the kicker. The Department of Homeland Security first entered into a contract with Paragon, now owned by a U.S. firm, in late 2024 under the Biden administration. But the $2 million contract was put on hold pending a compliance review to make sure it adhered to an executive order that restricts U.S. government's use of spyware, Wired reported at the time. So does everybody see what I was talking about? The Biden administration entered into this contract first. And so the Trump administration is expanding on it. Now, look, I talk a lot of shit about Trump. I also talked a lot of shit about Biden too, for those who are new. I believe we deserve better as a people. But for those who are calling out Trump and his actions with ICE, but you didn't call out Biden when they increased funding to ICE under his administration, or you didn't call out Biden for this, I'm kind of looking at you with a side eye, man. Because that to me tells me to you it's partisan instead of focusing on the issue. Both of these parties agree with surveillance and the surveillance state. And both of these parties have entered into contracts to do just that. Now we'll go to another part here that I want to show you as well. Now, Whitney came out and told us this last year, and I should probably try to get Whitney back on. I'm curious what she thinks about everything that's happening right now. For those who are not aware, Whitney Webb is an independent journalist. She is the author of One Nation Under Blackmail. She was the first one that I saw really dive into the whole Epstein, saga. She has 2 books about this, volume 1 and volume 2. Many of the people that you see named that was released in these Epstein files now, Whitney Webb had already mentioned these people, some of them in her books. So you can find those books, I think, on Amazon, volume 1 and volume 2, if you want to read those. So check that out. But a shout out to Sense Receptor, who posted this recently, and that reminded me, oh shit, here we go. Whitney Webb in August of 2025. And this is what she said when she came on last year.
And Trump has been openly building databases on people with Palantir. Of course, most people know that they're doing that with ICE, but the administration announced not that long ago that they're doing it for everybody. And Palantir also manages all of your health.
Let's go back. Listen to this.
Trump has been openly building databases on people with Palantir. Of course, most people know that they're doing that with ICE, but the administration announced not that long ago that they're doing it for everybody.
They're doing it for everybody. They're not just going to surveil people that they want to deport. They're going to surveil all of us. All of us. Sometimes I miss the days before smartphones. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I wish I could go back to the days when we did not have smartphones and I didn't have apps on my phones. And the only time I was on Facebook is when I logged into Facebook on my computer. Sometimes I really do miss those days. Let's go on.
And Palantir also manages all of your health data because they contract extensively with HHS. So, this is very concerning for a lot of reasons. One point on that I would point to is how Trump in his first term, there was the spate of mass shootings, I believe, in the latter half of 2019. And Trump called on social media companies to stop shooters before they commit a crime, and to basically flag what people were saying on social media and use that to determine if there should be intervention before a crime might be committed.
Okay, pause right here. We're going to come back to this because let's go to what just happened with social media. to a young woman in Miami. So I just want to show you this playing out in real freaking time. Shout out to Clint Russell who shared this. This lady in Miami had the FBI knock on her door simply because she pointed out the hypocrisy of Randy Fine. Watch this.
Picture to make sure it's you. We're not sure.
Okay.
Not, okay, so is that your account?
I refuse to answer questions without my lawyer present. So I really don't know how to answer that question
Okay,
either
well,
way.
you're, like I said, you're not
This
going
is
to jail.
freedom of speech. This is America, right?
And
Veteran.
and I agree with you 100%.
All right.
We're just trying to see if it's you, because if we're not talking to the right person, we want to go see who the right person
Okay,
is.
how can I help you?
So pretty much it's just a statement that was made as far as,
Verbatim, it says the guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians, tried to shut down a theater for showing a movie that hurt his feelings, and refuses to stand up for the LGBTQ community in any way. Even leaves the room when they vote and on related matters. Wants you to know that you're all welcome. Clown face, clown face, clown face.
So he's reading a social media post that she made about Randy Fine. This is what Randy Fine said, right? So in 2023, he said, make a secret trip to Jerusalem to deliver Ron DeSantis HB 269, the strongest anti-Semitism bill in the U.S. The Florida's Nazi thugs, I have news, attack Jews on their property and you're going to prison. Never again means never again. So the feds came to this woman's house because she tweeted something or posted something about Randy Fine, basically calling him a hypocrite. So this is now a questionable offense. They're doing it in real time, guys.
You don't know if it was you?
I'm not going to answer whether that's me or not.
Okay.
The concerning part, and not concerning for the person who's posting it, what we're just trying to prevent is somebody else getting agitated or agreeing with the statement. We're not saying it's true or not.
Understood.
That guy who consistently calls for the death of all Palestinians, that can probably incite somebody to do something radical. That's all we're here to talk about. And we wanted to get your side. If it was you that posted that, I would think to refrain from posting things like that, because that could get something
I
incited.
appreciate your concern.
But Randy Fine literally does do that. He does call for the death of all Palestinians on social media. So that's what they approached her about. This is crazy.
And I appreciate you coming out here.
Okay.
That's it?
That is it.
Okay.
I'm going to maintain my amendment rights to not answer the question about what that's. I hope
Thank
that's
you for your time.
understandable.
We appreciate it.
Thank you
Have
as
a good day,
well.
okay?
You as well. Thank you. Take care.
You don't have
But it's been happening. It's been happening.
the right to harm other people with your words, and you don't have the right to say things that have really negative, really horrible meanings. When you want people to destroy Israel, that matters.
See? So everybody sees, right? All right, let's go back to the video with Whitney, because I just wanted you guys to see that like playing out in real time.
Basically.
That's Minority Report.
Actually, William Barr, when he was in office the first time, created this program that legalized pre-crime in the United States. And I think I was like one of two people maybe that reported on that at the time. It was called DEEP, and there's been a few arrests under DEEP for people making Facebook posts and things like that. But not that many, but the legal framework has been there since, Trump round one, basically. But anyway, this pitch that Trump made about having social media spy on its users and use like analytics to, bring about some sort of pre-crime society. He was being pitched at the time and he was interested in it, but it didn't ultimately happen, in creating this agency called HARPA, which was supposed to be like the health version of the Pentagon's DARPA. And the program that they wanted to start with, the acronym was Safe Homes. And it was basically about, analyzing American social media posts for early warning signs of neuropsychiatric violence, and then based on that, would either send people to a court-ordered psychologist or physician, or even house arrest. without them having committed any crime. So now that we have big tech even more intertwined with Trump round 2, people should really be paying attention to the stuff, especially now that Palantir, especially through the Doge, formerly led by Elon Musk agency, has sort of embedded Palantir in even more aspects of the government than it was in before, including like the IRS and, mortgage stuff like Fannie Mae and all of that,
Remember when I told you guys that it was announced recently that the IRS was looking at people's bank accounts? So our privacy is just floating like out the window. And I think this is where I agree with libertarians. I believe libertarians agree with the right to privacy. I believe we should have a right to privacy. But our government is just continuing to try to take that away from us. Pay attention to what is happening. They're trying to take away our speech, trying to take away the right to protest or what type of protest you can have, even if it's a peaceful protest. They're trying to take away your privacy. I mean, what's the First Amendment for now?
I'll have Palantir now, and then basically giving them the keys to the kingdom with a lot of data that the Department of Treasury has about your finances and the IRS and all of that. All of this is going to go into this master database, and the goal of Palantir, just like it was with total information awareness, is about stopping crime before it happens. It's pre-crime, and Palantir did that for a few years, several years, in police departments around the country, piloting predictive policing programs, which is pre-crime, and mainly low-income minority neighborhoods, starting off in New Orleans.
So there you go, folks. So if you have not seen the movie Minority Report, you probably could be able to watch it on YouTube for free now, because it's been a long time. But Minority Report stars Tom Cruise. That's essentially what that is, where people are arrested for crimes that it is predicted they would make, not that they made. And it's a scary, scary time. I've watched every Black Mirror episode, and I have to tell you, I see it more and more and more, right? Whether it's the episode with the robot dogs, which we do have, by the way, whether it's the episode where everything that you get, your social credit score in life is based on how many likes you get online. That's really scary. But I could see a lot of these things happening. I don't know if you guys have all seen Black Mirror. If you haven't, it's an excellent show. I recommend that you watch it. And it's about technology and where we could be headed as a society. So this is scary. This is alarming. And I'm trying to tell all you guys, it's going to come a point where these parties are not going to matter, where we're all going to have to make a decision. Are we going to come together as a people to push back against these powers that be? Or are we going to continue to be divided because of these political parties? When we have the 0.01%, and you have, don't forget, all the intelligence is going to go to Israel. We talked about this. And you'll have Israeli intelligence, the tech bros, and AI, all of that coming down against us. I would sincerely hope that at that point, people would realize this is not about a Republican team or a Democrat team. This is about survival. And this is about rights, the right to privacy, the right to free speech, the right to expression, whether you agree with what is expressed or what is said or not. Because the last thing I want is to have those rights taken away for anyone. We don't want a controlled state. And I really do feel like that's what they're trying to do.
And now you have other companies besides Palantir that do this. There's one in LA called Predictive, and they have an accuracy of 0.5%. And they haven't gotten rid of the contract.
So there you go.
So it's not really about better, more efficient policing. I mean, that's what it's going to be sold as. It's basically the idea that was developed you know, by the British for prison designs in the 1800s, the panopticon, the idea that if people feel like they're constantly under watch and something, and they could, you know, be, well, obviously out of the prison context, you could be put in prison for doing the wrong thing or whatever, then people will police themselves. If they know they're under constant watch, they will police themselves, they will censor themselves, things of that nature. And I think ultimately that's the form of control it is about.
And that reminds me of the Black Mirror episode that I was telling you about, where everything is based on how many likes you get online. Like if you post a picture, however many people like it, that determines. It's like, one second. I don't know why I can't remember the name of that episode, but I used to call it the Facebook episode. It's in the first season of Black Mirror. And basically the way it works is like, if you, thank you, Eric, Nosedive. It's the episode called Nosedive. And basically the way that it would work is that, let's say you want to rent an apartment. Well, depending on what your social credit score is, that determines what apartment you can rent. So it's no longer a credit score based on, financial means. It's a credit score based on how likable you are and how less of a risk you may be as an individual. So if you come off as kind of cranky, or people don't like you, or someone goes in the elevator and you don't say hi to them, they can give you a thumbs down on your social credit score, and that knocks you further down. I don't want to give too much away about that episode, but it's really good. So basically, like, where you live, what you eat, what you drive, all depends on that social credit score. And so if you are considered to be a risk, which if you are lower income, you're going to be considered to be high risk, especially for Palantir as well. Palantir used technology in Gaza. And by the way, what happened in Gaza can happen anywhere. This is what I tried to tell people. What happened in Gaza can happen anywhere in the world when power is unchecked. So obviously there are going to be groups of people, especially if you're poor, you are going to be more of a target. And of course, the billionaires are not. These tools are not going to predict billionaires as being a high risk. They will be less likely to commit a crime, even though wealthy people do commit crimes. They're called white collar crimes. And actually, sometimes wealthy people have been known in the past to have people killed. But because of their wealth and because of their name, they won't be seen as high risk. And I want to show you right now, look at what's happening, right? So Hillary Clinton just said this recently about social media. Listen to this.
If the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm. If the platform...
She says it out in the open that they lose total control. Actually, she said we, and she says we, she's not talking about me and you. We know Clinton's in that high class circle as well. So they want to control the social media, hence this new platform that they want to launch called W, that was presented at the WEF. Same thing. They want to tell you what to look at. Just like with corporate media, they want to tell you what to think. They don't want us to think outside the box. They don't want us to brainstorm. They don't want us to form our own opinions and just have free thinking. They don't want that. They want to tell us what to think, what to believe, what to do. That's it. And as long as I can remember, I think it's kind of been that way. There's a reason why certain things are not in our history textbooks. And no, you can't put everything, But the things that are left out are very telling, because I sure as hell never saw anything about the Nakba in a history textbook. Did you? These are things to think about, the type of control that they want to have. And more particularly, they're saying it out loud here at the Israeli American Council. This is Adam Milstein. He tells the Israeli American Council, we need to gather intelligence. So here we go. I'm telling you, all these things are working together. Palantir, Israel, intelligence. Listen to this.
We need to invest in intelligence to understand who are the anti-Semites, who's funding them, what's their plans, who are the leaders. And then once we have that, we can define who is an enemy we can attack. Obviously, we're not going to go against, Islamo-leftists in the United States. It's too big. We need to define very specific organization, individuals, actions that we can fight against. And for example, when we talk about Islamo-leftists, it's clear that Qatar is behind all that. So we need to focus on Qatar, Muslim Brotherhood, CARE in the United States. When we talk about radical left, we need to focus on the Democratic Socialists of America, which are not Democrats. They're just socialist Marxists that are using democratic means to take over the Democratic Party. Mamdani is the Democratic Socialist of America. So we need to focus on DSA. We need to focus on other radical movement, anarchist movements, People's City Council, the PP Forum, a lot of organizations that are being sponsored by China and by Marxist billionaires. And once we have all this information, we need to empower and mobilize an ecosystem of many organizations that we can incentivize them to work together, to share, and to fight against our common enemies. We need to invest in pro-Israel organizations, and we need to invest in pro-American organizations.
So everybody catch what this guy just said? So first and foremost, I'm really tired of the Qatar reference. I'm so sick of this. They say Qatar as if it's like this random country that the US doesn't work with. It does. It's basically like a US outpost, US military outpost. Two, notice he said Democratic Socialists of America, which I do want to interject here. Democratic Socialists of America are not socialists. Democratic Socialists of America basically support democratic socialism, or I guess we can also refer to it as social democracy. It's similar to what they have in Germany and Denmark and, a lot of the Scandinavian countries in Europe. Those countries are still capitalist countries. I don't know why they continue to say this bullshit, but that is obviously false. So they're not actually socialists, but a lot of times they will, some of them individual members will say that they are, but that's not what the organization really is. So there's that. Of course, they had to mention Zoran Mandami. They see him as an issue because the fact that he was even able to win by running on a pro-Palestinian message. But just what he said there about the intelligence, about who they're going to go after. They mentioned CARE. CARE is not a threat. CARE is harmless. Why are they going to have to go after CARE? So Arab Americans can't have their own organizations? So this is just, and whatever they say is radical is what radical will be. They can change the definition just like they're trying to change the definition of anti-Semitism. So whatever they say it can be. We are living in a new era of McCarthyism. And this is why I said, don't cheer on the surveillance, because even though it's used against another group, it will also be used against you. Rockwell had a song called Somebody's Watching Me. Rockwell was right. Now that was back in the 80s. And we didn't have social media back then. But now with social media and intelligence and AI, I don't think any of us actually have privacy. And then there are some, you know, they say they have VPNs, so they're are you though? Are you really private? I don't know. I think if people want to find you, they can. I think if these people, rich people, want to find you, they can. So this is where we're at now, folks. This is where we're at. Eric brings up a good point as well. They don't want us to have demands. They don't. They want us to just get up, go to work, live our lives. They want us to be distracted by things like the Kardashians, and they want you to watch Housewives, eat a bunch of junk food. They want you to shop. We're going to do another episode about the food too, because that's another thing I need to talk about is the food, right? All the food distractions that are right there at the register as you're about to leave the grocery store. Notice it's nothing healthy. It's just junk. They want you to shove your body full of processed foods, watch Netflix and chill, talk about the Kardashians, and shut the fuck up. That's all. That's what they want you to do. They don't want you to focus on what's happening abroad. They don't want you looking to see who's getting money from who, even though they do that. They don't want you to think. They want us to live in a bubble, just like the movie with Jim Carrey, The Truman Show. They want us to be in a Truman Show and pretend like this is what we got. We should be happy even just to be here, and we should not complain. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.